Welcome to another show. I am your host, David Lewis. This is Live with David Lewis. I think I've done everything right today. I apologize. I think I wasn't as prepared as I should have been. But I got a great show for you today. Today is Friday, July 9th. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope June was a great month. Hope everybody had a great holiday season over the 4th of July, did some fun things, and you're rocking and rolling for the month of July. Obviously, we're still in a situation with inventory, and we talk about that every time we come on. Inventory is going to be a problem. Nothing we can do about it. We have to live with it. We have to deal with it. We're starting to hear some good signs. Things are starting to happen. Things are starting to flow. So hopefully, we're going to start seeing some more inventory popping in. But today, we're going to talk about a very common scenario and situation that happens in the dealership. And that situation is once you've presented your numbers, maybe you've already been negotiating with the customer, and all of a sudden the customer states, hey, can I get a copy of the worksheet and take it home with me? And I got to tell you, for a lot of you, including myself, that's a killer. I mean, that's really a kick in the gut. It hurts. It's a tough one to overcome. It's a tough objection. And, we've got to think about this a little bit deeper about how we handle this, because I don't think that most of us do a really good job. And I think myself in the past, too, I was the same situation. I don't think I handled this very well when I sold cars, and I've learned over the years. So let me look at my notes here. So let's start with why would somebody state that? What would make somebody say, can I get a copy of the worksheet and take it home? Well, there are many reasons why they would do that. Maybe they're still defensive with us. We've asked them a lot of bad questions throughout the process. Their defensives have never come down. It's something they gravitated to, and it was an easy way to get out of there. Maybe we've got them on the wrong vehicle, and it's just, again, it's a way to get out of there. Maybe we were unable to respond to certain questions or obstacles they threw out throughout the sales process. Maybe we didn't give a good presentation. Maybe we lacked enthusiasm and energy, and they wanted to get out of there. Maybe we failed to ask for the sale. Maybe we presented our numbers and we didn't ask for the sale. That could be a reason why, and they gravitated to, well, let me get a copy of the worksheet and I'll let you know. There are a couple of reasons that we don't create that people do say this. One is maybe they're not ready to make a decision. Maybe they're just not ready to make a decision, and they want to go home and truly think it over and digest those numbers. Maybe they want to drive other cars. Maybe they're not at that point. And those are valid reasons. I think that a lot of us, when we go out to buy something, we want to digest it a little bit, and so does the consumer. Now, we all know this scenario. We want to sell them the car today and make as much money as possible, and they want to buy it at their leisure when they're ready and pay as little as possible. But sometimes we can't control this, and we have to accept it. Now, our managers, and I know I got a lot of people logged in today, so probably some managers here. Our managers definitely don't want us to give a copy of the worksheet to the customer. They do not. So what would their reason be? Well, obviously, the customer's going to go shop the deal. We're now giving them everything in writing, and they can go shop the deal. Now we have a legitimate offer that a competitor can beat and can see all the information. Maybe the manager's not confident in the numbers that were presented and knew that the deal could be beaten very, very easily. Maybe the manager feels that we've lost control of the situation, which we probably have in that situation. And now we've given the customer no reason to return to the dealership. They have everything they want, and they have it in writing, and it creates a problem. Now, the biggest problem of all with this obstacle or objection is when we do get it and what we say. And if we say no, what's the customer's perception? Well, the customer perceives that we are now hiding something. I know that if you said that to me, I would think that you are hiding something. Maybe they'll feel that we're not confident in the offer that we're presenting. Maybe, we came across as arrogant, as we're trying to hard close them to buy the car today, and that's why we're not giving them a copy of the worksheet. And the customer has a right to feel this way. Whenever you're selling anything or trying to close a deal, you never want to build blocks. You never want to build obstacles that make it harder for you to close the deal. And this, of course, is one of those situations where it does get harder and the customer's perceptions really come into play. The reality of not giving a copy is this. If you don't give the customer a copy of that worksheet, and you're going to know where I stand on this in a few minutes. If you don't give them a copy of this worksheet, well, first of all, you have nothing. You have nothing. They're going to leave and not return. Okay. Even if you try to overcome the obstacle, which is difficult, they are going to not return. It creates conflict, and you don't want to create conflict in the sales process. You don't want the customer more defensive and more defensive and more defensive. And it creates a negative perception. again, that we are trying to hide something, and that's not a good idea. Now, there are two most likely reasons why this happens. Number one is, again, you've landed them on the wrong car. You've made a bad presentation. You've landed them on the wrong car. You asked them too many questions too prematurely, and you're in the wrong car. And maybe the payment range that they want to be in is wrong because, again, you've landed them on the wrong car. The second reason is that you've made a poor presentation. You weren't convincing. Maybe the customer knows more about the car than you do. You didn't add enough value to the product. You weren't able to make the customer want this car and crave this car. The customer doesn't think of it as their car. So again, they're looking for an out. And unfortunately, the worksheet is the easiest out because it is right there in front of them, and they can say, hey, can I get a copy of this, and then take it home. Remember one thing, and we've started to talk about this over the last couple of months, is when you make a presentation and demonstration, let's just say you're selling a $30,000 car, you want to make a $40,000 or $50,000 presentation. You want to make that presentation so valuable that the customer wants the car so badly that this obstacle or objection never comes up. Always remember, and I've shared this with you before, the better the presentation, the better the objection. The better the objection, the easier it is to overcome. I know that most people object. At the end of my process, I present my numbers and we use those 7 magical words. Would you like to buy the car? Let's be honest. Very few people just say yes. It happens, but very few say yes. Most will say no and give you a reason. Now, to me, a good reason is going to be a payment or price objection. Would you like to buy the car? Not sure. The payment's a little higher than I really wanted it to be. See, that to me is a good objection. I can overcome that objection. That means that I gave a $50,000 presentation on a $30,000 car. I created the want, the needs, and the desires. They want the car. Now it's all about getting the payment in the right spot and making them feel comfortable and everything. When the customer says to me, can I take a copy of the worksheet home? Now I realize I did not do a good presentation. So now, I didn't get a good objection. I got an objection that's hard for me to overcome. Let's face a couple of facts here. Number one, the customers have already done their research. Very few people come into your dealership without having done some research. When they ask for the copy of the worksheet, most are not going home to think about it. They just aren't sold. Now, also remember, when you sell 3 things. You sell your product, you sell yourself, and you sell your dealership, and in those order. So the number one thing you've got to do is get the customer to find a car that they are in love with. If they're in love with the car, and number 2 is now they like you and they want to do business at your dealership, they're not going to come up with, can I take a copy of the worksheet home and think it over? They're going to give you something uniquely different. Another fact is if they do take the worksheet with them, you've just done all the work for another salesperson. You really have. You've cut to the chase for another salesperson for them to walk in and say, listen, I want this car. This is what I can get it for another dealership. Can you beat this price? And some of you have had customers walk in and do the same to you. Hey, I was at another dealership. Can you beat this price? And what they're telling you is really, especially if they buy the same car, I didn't like the salesperson. I did not like the salesperson. I want the car. I didn't like the salesperson. Now, are there some people that are truly going to shop you and sell you out for $50 or $100? Absolutely. But I'm convinced, and you will not change my mind, that is far and few between. Most people will spend a few more dollars to buy from someone they want to do business with. And I truly, truly believe that. And once they do leave, a fact is you have a less than 10% chance that they're going to come back. It is very, very, very remote. Now, once the customer states, can I get a copy of the worksheet? What is the most common response that most of us give? And it's an old school response. And it is something to the fact of, well, what is there to go home and think about? And all you're doing is putting the customer now on the defensive. Now they got to defend why they want to go home and do this. This is when they're going to start lying to you, becoming even more defensive, and you are going to go down a path that you will not be able to turn around and get back from. If you get no answer out of them, a lot of them say, well, is it me? Is it the car? Is it the money? And now you're digging for something. And again, it's going to make the customer more defensive, and they're going to stick to their gun. This is not the way to handle that objection. It is not going to get you any closer to the obstacle or the sale that you're trying to get. So why is this not good? Well, it comes across as an attack. Number 2, you sound like every other salesperson out there. I guarantee you if I line up 100 salespeople and ask them, how do you overcome, can I take the worksheet home and think about it? 90% of them are going to say, what is it you want to go home and think about? Is it me, the car, or the money? You're not catching the customer pleasantly off guard because they're kind of expecting that response. There's no empathy in that response. You're not feeling any empathy to the customer. You're not, getting the customer to understand that you understand what they're talking about. And again, you're putting them on the spot. I got to defend myself. I would lie to you. If I said I want to take the worksheet home and think about it, and you said to me, well, what is it you want to think about? I would say to you, well, we're the first place we've been to. Now you went from bad to worse. I'm not going to say to you, well, I think the payment's too high. I'm not going to say it to you. It's not going to come up. Because maybe, again, I don't like you. Maybe you put me on the wrong car, or something else has happened in my mind. We call this the checkmate scenario. This is when the salesperson heads in the wrong direction with this objection. You are going into checkmate. You are not going to win. There's no way to turn around, and most customers are not going to say, yes, I'll buy the car. Again, did the customer lie to us? Yes. What caused the lie? Well, you said the wrong thing. And we all know that words and verbiage really affect what we are doing. So here's the question. Should you give them a copy of the worksheet? Well, unfortunately, and I've told you this over and over again, I'm always going to tell you the way it is, what I believe in. It doesn't mean that I'm right, doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It's my opinion. And you have to formulate your own opinions of what you want to do. And you all know what I'm going to say. And the answer is yes. The customer asks if they can take a copy of the worksheet home. The answer is yes. Yes, you can. Now, might I give them the actual one? No, I might get them a photocopy. I might let them take a picture of it, whatever it may be. But it doesn't do me any good to go down that checkmate path where I am not going to be able to turn this ship around. It's just not going to happen. I have to realize at this point in time, the odds are, not always, but the odds are I have made a mistake, and I have to learn from my mistakes. I have to ask myself, did I put them in the wrong car? Did I make them too defensive? Did they not like me? Those are all valuable reasons why they have said that. But let's think about this. Is there the possibility that some people are truly going to go home and think about it? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll talk about that with you in another minute, how I'd handle that. So why would I give them the worksheet? Well, first of all, I have nothing to hide. My numbers are my numbers. I don't play games. I'm not misleading. Today's world, I have to be very transparent. I'm confident in the offer that I'm giving you. I feel it's a good price. Could somebody beat my price? Absolutely. With 100%, I believe someone's going to beat my price. But if I've done the right job and they like me, they will likely come back to me. They're not going to get the same service down the street. It shows confidence in you and your dealership that you've given them the worksheet. Because keep in mind, if they've gone to 2 other dealerships and they refuse to give them the worksheet and created this environment, you come across as different. You're not saying no to the customer. You should never say no. No is a bad word, and you will catch them pleasantly off guard. Now, what I would say, and I've actually written it out and I'm going to read it to you because I want to make sure I got every word perfect. When the customer asks me, can I take a copy of the worksheet? I would say, Mr. Customer, yes, I'm going to give you the copy of the worksheet per your request. And I have no problem whatsoever with you shopping my deal. I'm very confident in the offer we made you and that there is no better place to buy a vehicle than from our dealership. I've also gotten to know you enough over the past hour or so to believe I'm uniquely suited to be the person who sells you and your family your next vehicle. You see, Mr. Customer, my goal is not only to sell you a car today and then think of you again in 3 years from now. My goal is to earn your business right now as your family car guy. And to do that, I know I'll need to earn that right every day you're in this vehicle. That is the type of service I offer every one of my clients, and you will receive the same. So I'm going to ask you to do me a favor, and here's the big words. Before you make a final decision at another dealership with another salesperson, will you at least give me the right of first refusal? And most people are going to say yes. Now remember, this is typically at the end of the process. What is the key phrase in this? The right of first refusal. Why? Because it's a professional way of saying it. It sounds so much better than will you give me a last chance, a final shot? If somebody beats my deal, will you let me know and let me see if I can do better? Because I would then turn to you and say, well, can you do better now? You're not begging and you're not pleading. It turns off the customer. And I'm going to share with you that I believe this will save you a lot of deals by doing this the proper way. Why? Because it's a very powerful statement to leave the customer with. Will you give me the right of first refusal? You're putting all right out there. You're letting everybody know what it is. You're selling yourself. No other salesperson will ever make that statement. It's unique. It's different. And you know what? Sometimes they're going to change their mind. And maybe that might be the one statement that does put them over the edge. And you will get customers calling you. You know, why did the customer call you back? Because they want to now do business with you. You left them with that powerful message. And they want to do business with you. Now, what you do after they leave is so vitally important, because now you have to show that you really want to earn their business. You have to turn something around in their mind. You have to give them second thoughts. And we've talked about this before. 2 hours after they leave, I would send them a video. I would go out to the car. I'd make a quick 1-minute video. I'd hold the camera up and I'd say, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. David at the dealership. I wanted again, thank you so much for coming in today. I had a great time. I hope you enjoyed your experience at the dealership. I just wanted to give you a quick preview of the vehicle that we looked at. This is the blah, 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 blah. It has these features, these options. I'd actually show it to them on the video, walk them around. I thought you might like to have this as you go back during your shopping process to see if maybe you forgot some of the features and benefits that we had available on this car. Again, I'd love to earn your business. I obviously have asked you, and I'll ask you again if I could get the right of first refusal. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it, and I look forward to hearing back from you." I would post that on YouTube. I'd copy and paste the link, and I would text it to the customers. And I just put a little text. "Thank you again for coming in today. I appreciate it. Here's a little YouTube video I made specially for you." And again, all you're trying to do is get that customer to think, to change their mindset. You've already lost. Now you've got to show them that you can win. Okay? Once they said, "Can I take this home?" 99 out of 100 times, you've already lost. And how you handle it from that point forward is going to make all the difference in the world. Now, if they say that right up front, am I still going to get a manager to TO the car deal? Absolutely. I'm still going to do all the right things I'm going to do. I'm still going to try to do what I have to do. I'm going to stay away from those bad statements of, you know, what is it that you want to go home and think about it? Is it me, the car, the dealership? I'm going to stay away from all those stuff. So with that said, a lot of you are popping in questions real quickly. If you let me get to a couple of them real quick, because I saw one that was really good as I was talking. So Rob wants to know, if we're not allowed to give a copy of the worksheet to the client, is it okay to say it's proprietary information and that's why we can't give them a copy? No, I wouldn't buy into that. Proprietary information, you've written it down. I'd whip out my cell phone real quick and snap it. And if you wouldn't let me snap it, I would just say, "Okay, can I have a pen and piece of paper?" And I'd write the information down. It's not proprietary information, Rob. Everybody knows that. All right, Jordan wants to know, every manager I've ever worked with has said it's a bad idea to give a customer a copy of the worksheet. Are you saying that they are wrong? No, I'm just saying that I have a different opinion. Okay, I have a different opinion. And my opinion goes, as I stated earlier, we've lost. You don't give them a copy of the worksheet, you're guaranteed you've lost. I mean, that's a guarantee. You might as well just put the nail in the coffin. They're never coming back. So no, Jordan, I don't think that they're wrong. I just think it's a set of opinions, and you have to do, and your manager has to do what you guys think is right. Let me take a few more. Maddie says, if we give them a copy of the worksheet, are we not in effect surrendering the negotiations? Yeah, Maddie, I guess that's a really good point. You kind of are surrendering the negotiations. But now you got to learn from the mistake you made, and you got to sit down afterwards and ask yourself, where did you go wrong? Did you make the right presentation demonstration? Did you shortcut? Is this the customer that you went on with a 4-minute lap around the block demo ride and they never fell in love with the car? Is this the customer that you asked too many questions up front and never got them to relax? So you're going to have plenty of opportunities. Learn from the mistakes that you made. Right, Claude wants to know, what if my customer asked me if they could take a picture of the worksheet? What are you going to do? Put your hands over it and say, no, you can't see it, pull it away from them? You're in the same situation. If you say no, if you said no to me, I would just stand up and walk away. It's okay, we're done. I mean, this is it. We're done. I would just walk away. I wouldn't give you any more of my time. All right, Team Toyota conference room. What is the best way to say to a customer, you cannot give them a copy of the worksheet if my manager refuses to let them have a copy? Wow. Whew. What is the best way to say to a customer, you cannot give them a copy of the worksheet? Geez, guys, I don't know how I would handle that. Me personally, I think I would say, let me go talk to my manager one more time, and I'd leave the worksheet on the desk. Maybe they would take a picture of it. I mean, that's really a tough one, guys. if your managers are in the mindset that we are absolutely not going to give a copy of the worksheet, what are you going to do? You got to say what your managers say. Me personally, with my sarcastic sense of humor, the next day, if the manager says, have you followed up with them? I'd say, no, and I don't plan on it. They're never going to come back here. We totally pissed them off. We wouldn't give them a copy of the worksheet. I wouldn't come back. Would you come back? All right, let me take one more question here, and then we'll wrap up for today. Okay, classic sales teams. If we give a copy of the worksheet to the customer and they shop our price, I'm trying to read some of the spelling. You must have typed this fast. And it turns out we're the highest price, wouldn't that deter them forever considering us again for a car purchase? Okay, let me rephrase the question. So you've given them a price, $30,000, and they shop it, and they can buy the car for $29,500. Now, first of all, me personally, don't know if I'm right or wrong. The odds are when you're letting them leave, you're not letting them leave at a $3,000 gross. You've already worked it down to a very affordable payment that probably has minimal profit in it. So the odds are that if you are higher, you're not going to be much higher. This is my belief. If you've done the right job in your presentation and demonstration, you know exactly what I mean. You've given them the $50,000 presentation on a $30,000 car, and they've fallen in love with the car, and they've fallen in love with you, and they want to do business at your dealership. Well, guess what? They're going to call you. I believe that 100%. And the call is going to be something like, hey, we were able to get a better price of $300 somewhere else. Will you match that price? And what that customer is telling you is, I want to do business with you. I want to buy my car from you, but I can buy it cheaper somewhere else. Listen, don't get mad at your customer. Respect them for doing that. You should be thrilled that they even called you back. It's telling you they don't want to do it there. Now, obviously, if the offer is ridiculous and they say, well, we can buy it for $1,800 somewhere else, and they can't, you just got to come out and say, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. Here's our best and final price. But let's just say we're $300 apart. Would I give him the full $300 and match it? I don't know. It depends on the day of the week, my mood, how I'm doing. If I need another number for the end of the month to hit a bonus. I might say, geez, you know what? I can't. But I'll tell you what I can do. I can do $200 less. So we're a difference of $100. I hope, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, that I've earned the $100 for you to want to come back. Would love to have you a customer. I'd love to get you into my system, someone I can take care of for the next 3 to 5 years with your driving needs. It's a good thing. So again, me personally, if a customer asks for a worksheet, it's pretty much told me I've lost. I've got to move on. I got to analyze what I did wrong. I got to give them the worksheet, send them out with the best verbiage, give me the right of first refusal, and hopefully I've done something right in the process that will make them want to return to me. So I hope you've enjoyed today's show, gotten some great information. I love your feedback. You guys are always sending me emails of how things are working. So I really, really do appreciate the feedback. And I reply to all of you. So with that said, I hope everyone's doing well, being safe, and you're having lots of fun selling cars. I'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.